Now, without any further delay, I would like to turn today's Microsoft Office 365 conference, No Technology Webinar, Microsoft Office 365, a great cloud option for your organization, over to your first presenter today, Mike White, Senior Account Consultant with No Technology. Mike, you now have the floor.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that, and thanks everyone for attending today. I know we've got a couple of folks who are going to be signing on later. We'll repeat what we said at the very beginning, that these slides will be made available after the presentation. So we'll send those out. And I'm going to take just a minute or two. I want to make sure that I leave time for the folks from Microsoft to go through the presentation today and make them available for questions. But I wanted to just very briefly introduce our organization, No Technology, here in Maine, both Portland and Camden, and our relationship with Microsoft as it relates to Microsoft Office 365. We are a Microsoft partner and have been for a number of years, one of the first New England partners to take part in, at that point, Microsoft's online services suite called BPOS. Sent some of our folks to Redmond, Washington for the Microsoft Airlift on BPOS, and have been deploying, supporting, and managing online services for Microsoft and others since, going on 4 years now. No Technology has a fairly unique approach to online services in general, and specifically to Office 365, which is what this discussion is about. And we try to wrap our approach thusly. First, we tend to take each individual organization's needs into account through some sort of an assessment or strategy session. All of you for attending today's event are going to be reached out to by one of our account management team to take part in take advantage of a free cloud assessment. And that's one of the ways that we help organizations understand, A, what the cloud is, put some definitions and some framework around that, B, how it relates specifically to their organization, and then C, try to lay out some steps or a path and priorities to adopting some of those features found in this case in Office 365. And this slide, and I've just got one slide today, but this is how we frame the understanding of, or our understanding of cloud, and it makes it fairly simple for us to describe. We like to break it into three general buckets. You've got your end user and your end user devices. You've got your infrastructure and those things behind that, and you've got applications. Many of you on the call today, I'm sure, if you're in the IT realm in your organization, are finding that more and more end users are bringing more and more different devices. It's a BYOD world. Folks are bringing laptops and BlackBerries and iPads, and their expectation is that those devices are going to connect securely to your network and they're going to work. And that brings us to the infrastructure. That infrastructure, especially with cloud, includes the power and the backup and the cooling, not to mention the switching and wireless infrastructure to support these new devices, but also support them with some level of redundancy. That may mean multiple internet connections, that may mean larger internet connections, et cetera. And both of these things really point to what this discussion is all about, and that's the applications. How are we going to serve up the applications that your organization needs to do the work the way you work to any user on any device from anywhere? So today we're going to talk about Office 365. We've got a couple of folks from Microsoft. I'm going to introduce them in just a moment. As we said at the top end of this, please ask questions. This is best when it's these discussions are best when they're interactive. So please send those in, and we'll do our best to answer those in the flow of the call. So we've got two guys from Microsoft today. I'm going to introduce Rich Strum. He's an SMB online services business development manager. We work with Rich quite a bit, and we're happy to have him on the call. So, Rich, I'm going to turn this and turn control of the slide deck over to you, and then I'll help wrap back up when we're all done.
Great. Sounds good. Thanks, Mike. Well, as Mike said, a lot of folks have been on are familiar with our previous version of online services, the BPOS, and what we're going to talk about today is Office 365, which is the next generation of online services through Microsoft. And the cool thing about Microsoft's Office 365 is that it delivers the power of cloud computing and cloud productivity to businesses of all sizes. So if you have a one-man shop or a 25-man shop or a 250-man shop or more, online services and Microsoft Office 365 is a great product for you to be able to use. It'll save you time. It helps save money, and it frees up valuable resources for other projects that you have that you need your folks to be working on. One of the things that's also great about Office 365 is the next generation communication and collaboration services. You can see here we've got the Office Professional Plus as part of the Office 365 package. Exchange Online, SharePoint Online, and Lync Online. And with the Office Pro Plus, the cool thing here is that it gives you the world's leading productivity tool, providing a productive experience across all devices, PCs, phones, browser. Exchange is a cloud-based email, calendar, and contacts with always up-to-date protection from viruses and from spam. Really important, of course, as there's a lot of that stuff out there, and to protect your environment is a high valued item, and we're able to do that within our product. SharePoint Online, again, if you're familiar with SharePoint, you know that you have the ability to create sites. But the cool thing with the online is that you're going to create sites that connect colleagues to one another, partners together with your company, as well as your customers. And then, of course, Lync Online, instant messaging. Presence, which Mike Cobbs from our team, our technical support specialist, will be showing a little later on in a demo, the value of presence, as well as all online meeting experiences are available within the Lync application. The thing, too, about Office 365 that I think is a great benefit is the fact that you have anywhere access. You can get into your email, you can get into your documents, check your contacts, your calendaring on nearly any device. We also have a guaranteed SLA, 99.9% uptime. We have geo-redundancy and disaster recovery that's built in to the product, to the experience, so that you can feel secure and safe. And then it's a pay-as-you-go pricing options that we provide, and so that you have a predictable and a flexible way of purchasing the application. So a number of things here within the Office 365 product scheme that's valuable for you. But then, excuse me, here we go. Okay, so you ask yourself the question, though, why the cloud? Why should I go to the cloud? Well, I mentioned some aspects of it, but here are some other things to think about, too, and that is the features. It features, with Microsoft Office 365, the latest platform. You're going to always be current. That is one of the cool things about Office 365 is that because you're going to be current, because we're taking care of the application on the back end for you, you're going to be current. You're going to always have the latest Office Pro Plus, the latest SharePoint, the latest Exchange. And then, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to free your people up to do other things. So you've got those really quality folks that you've spent time to hire and bring on and train. They're going to be able to have more time to work on those strategic products. And then we talked about the predictable IT cost. It's going to give you, again, that month-to-month predictability that you look forward to. And then also security and reliability, very important. Everybody is really cognizant of the fact that, you know, of the security aspect of not only of their software, and we've got that built in for you here. And as you can see, there's also the ability to provide capabilities to employers who don't have the time or really don't have the time to learn new things. And the thing with that is that Office Pro Plus with Exchange, with SharePoint, they're all items that you're familiar with using today. So you can see you're going to have the best productivity experience across phone, PC, and browser. And as I mentioned, Mike will go into greater detail. He'll actually show you a demonstration of Office 365. And one of the things that I think is really good about this is that as you can see on the right-hand side of the slide, it's the cloud on your terms. So whether you're on premise right now and you want to move to the cloud, you can do so at your time, in your own time, you again will have that familiarity with the products. Same products, different way of delivery. So the value, well, obviously, as we mentioned before, you've got the best product experience because you're familiar with what you're using the products right now. It stays the same. You give the access anywhere, which is great. You can get your email at home at night, which might not be what you want, but hey, it's available for you. You have access to get it when you're on the road, which is a terrific thing. Again, familiar tools. You've got Excel there. You've got Word, Link, Outlook, and the big thing, that robust security and reliability, that 99.9% guaranteed uptime, financially backed guaranteed uptime. And, of course, you're in control. We'll host it for you. We'll take care of it for you, but you are in control of that application and of your stuff, which is terrific. So let's talk a little bit about what's inside the Office 365 application. As I mentioned earlier, you're going to get the latest version of the Office applications, seamlessly connected and delivered with cloud services. And stuff like email, you'll have access to your documents, calendar, from virtually any device. And we point that out a lot because it's really one of the driving factors with online services is that connectivity and the ability to connect from any device. Of course, you're going to have Office web apps, which Mike will talk about a little bit more in detail, online companions, Word Online, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, all available to you online. A terrific thing. And, of course, it's the flexibility of pay-as-you-go. One of the key benefits, it's a per-user licensing model. You have the leverage. You can leverage the power of business and the social network within Outlook and within the Outlook social connector. One of the things that I want to talk about with SharePoint, of course, we talk about the fact that with SharePoint you've got, it provides a central place where people can, create sites to connect with, like I said, colleagues and partners and customers. It also allows you your individual employees to create their own sites, or what we call My Sites. And the cool thing about that is that with a My Site, it's kind of like, think about it as Facebook for the enterprise. So they can create, present their documents that they're working on for work, but also put in shared interests and hobbies and things of that nature that they can add to those sites. Of course, business units and work groups can create team sites to share documents, task lists, schedules, so that everybody keeps an eye, everybody is in sync with what's going on within their group. Again, I want to mention that financially backed 99.9 uptime service level agreement that we have. Another key feature, definitely a key feature for this. And, of course, there's Exchange in here. And we talked about the antivirus and the anti-spam ability within Exchange. And the fact that you can connect to it mobily, from just about any device, BlackBerry, Windows Phone 7, which of course we promote heavily and use, and it's a great phone. And also, but it does allow you to connect to those to the Exchange as well. And then there's Link, and we have a link on here also. Instant messaging, Presence. Mike's going to talk more about Presence. Very cool feature. You can find out when somebody's online, and you can talk to them right away. You don't have to call and leave a message. You can get a hold of them right where you're sitting and type it in on your computer. You can do online meetings with PC audio or video conferencing, and a single-click meeting creation, and you can join from Outlook. So it's really cool. And again, Mike will go into more detail on these things. In fact, right now I'm going to pass it off to Mike and ask him to go ahead and take control and share out, and then demonstrate to you the power in the online demo of Office 365. Mike?
Great. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it. And again, folks, my name is Michael Kops. I'm a TSP in the Microsoft world as a technology solution professional. So I work with partners and customers really to determine if Office 365 and Microsoft Cloud Services in general are a fit for your organization. Again, in your evaluation, I think you focus on a lot of the key points that Rich made about the cloud, whether it's security and data privacy, using the Access Anywhere features, or really focusing on that unique productivity experience. And that's, again, what I'm going to focus on in my demo. Again, a lot of you might think of, online services and Office 365 as moving your back-end infrastructure into the cloud. And leveraging, our data center, but it's business as usual for your users, right? And what's wonderful about Office 365 is, yes, we want to, take that burden off you with your Exchange server, your SharePoint servers, and Link servers, move them to our data center, but we also want to give you this great productivity experience for each and every one of your users. Right, so I'm going to go into the demo and show you that experience. Show, what each one of your employees, if you were to sign up for Office 365, would experience if you rolled this suite out. Again, we believe we have an industry-leading productivity experience that has pretty much set the standard, and it's really designed to improve communication and collaboration. So hold on one moment. I'm going to go ahead and share out my desktop. And again, go ahead. I want to remind folks as this is getting shared out, ask your questions in the Q&A manager. Obviously, I'm going to present, and when I'm done presenting, I'll go ahead into the Q&A manager and address them all. But again, shoot, this is your opportunity. I understand that some of you may want to have audio questions. Go ahead and just write them in the manager. I'll address them at the end. So again, typical user experience. Here you have my desktop, and Rich or any of the presenters, you want to go ahead and confirm that you can see my desktop?
I can see it. It's a little bit pixelated right now.
It's a little bit pixelated? Okay, let me go ahead and see if that display got changed back for some reason, which it did, and you should see the full color now. But so again, typical user experience. I log into my computer, and I'm going to open up my Outlook client. That is typically what our users do when they start their day. So this is Outlook 2010, which we recommend. Now, we also support Outlook 2007. We do not support Outlook 2003. So this is Outlook 2010 connecting to Exchange Online. Now, Exchange Online on the back end is it's a multi-tenant version of Exchange 2010. So we're connected, for those more technical people out there, we're connected using Outlook Anywhere or RPC over HTTPS, again, connecting to Exchange Online over the Internet. Now, first what I want to show you is some of the great features of Outlook. right, in Outlook 2010. So again, here we have policies on the top ribbon, and again, what I can do, I can self-service and set archiving and retention policies on all the mail items in my folder. This is new to the 2010 platform. Again, if you were to roll out Outlook 2010 and Exchange on premises, you would have these features. I just want to make the point, hey, it's included in Exchange Online. Another great feature, if I hit new email here, and say I type in Fred, here, my colleague, notice how his automatic reply pops up. This is called a mail tip. Mail tips pop up, and they really let you know ahead of time, keep you from making that email mistake. It kept me from emailing Fred. I could also email a distribution list. It's going to tell me how many folks are in the distribution list. My favorite, if I hit a reply all, maybe to an internal email that I think is internal, it'll tell me who the external parties are. So I'm in sales. There might be 2 customers on that email chain. It will pop up and say, hey, there's 2 external participants in here. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out and show you some other features of Outlook connecting to Exchange Online. And what's unique is this little archiving folder on the left. If you see this archiving folder on the left, that is our online folder. And that is called the Online Archive. And really what that does, that solves our PST problem. Typically, organizations will have users with Outlook that will, and you've probably experienced this, will constantly create PST files. And the PST files reside on their local C drive. Well, with Exchange 2010 and Outlook 2010 connecting to Exchange Online, we've put that online that archive online. So again, if I go into Outlook Web App, you will go into, you can go into the browser-based version of your email and actually see your online archive. It's pretty cool. That means that you're no longer losing your archive data. Maybe if you change computers and IT forgets to switch over that PST file. So really this feature has solved the PST problem. So really quick, I'm going to open up a new email again and really talk to this integration into Active Directory. So again, we're talking about Exchange Online, Microsoft platform. Most organizations are also running Exchange on premises. Or I'm sorry, Active Directory on premises. And again, there's that integration between Active Directory and Office 365. So they're both Microsoft platforms. We built an integration. So basically what you do is you run this AD Sync tool. It pulls all the user objects from your Active Directory, populates the global address list in Exchange Online. So again, this phone number that you see of Tim, this title, I can change that in Active Directory, automatically populates up to Office 365. I just wanted to make you aware of that, just so you realize, hey, these are all Microsoft products, and these integrations are all built into this Microsoft platform. Don't think of, and I'm going to get into this a little more shortly, don't think of Office 365 as a bunch of separate products, separate services. They all are intertwined and work together to give you that one productivity experience. So again, back to Outlook. I've showed you some cool features of Outlook 2010 connecting to Exchange Online. Let's now focus really on that integrated productivity experience that I talked about earlier. And let me find a good, I'm going to go ahead and find a good sample email where I can show that experience off. So here, again, just a common scenario. I'm going to go ahead and click on this Office 365 webcast calendar email that I received. And again, I'm going to use this example. example, maybe you could picture a process similarly in your environment that you go through over email. So I forward this email onto my team. It's an important notification I thought my team would want to know about. I forward it on to the folks, and you could see, again, my whole history here is logged for any particular subject is logged in my Outlook. And again, what am I using here? I'm using Conversation View. This is kind of the trend in managing our email. And instead of having everything come in chronologically, it's coming in. It's coming in by conversation. So again, any whether it's an email, a chat, a calendar invite relating to this particular subject is kept right here in this drop-down underneath the subject. We call that Conversation View. So again, I forwarded it to Tim. Tim replied all. Todd replied all. Next thing you know, and we've all experienced this, we're having a conversation over email. A lot of people would agree email oftentimes is not the best platform to be having these type of conversations. It takes, you're waiting for somebody to reply. Oftentimes it takes a full day. Is there a better way to communicate? Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and click on the latest communication here, and let me find one with everybody on it. And I'm going to say, you know what? I see everyone showing presence. And what I mean by presence is availability. This little bubble next to the user's name, for example, Fred has a green bubble. That means he is at his desk and he is working. Michael Kopps, there's two of me because one is my work, my Microsoft account, one's my demo account, is showing a red bubble. That means that I am at my desk, but I'm in a meeting. This is presence indicator. This is a function of Link. Again, that is our Link client, our chat and presence client, and it's integrated into Outlook. And I'm going to show you a link shortly. But again, I see all these folks appear to be available. Todd and Tim are not, but oh well, I'm going to go ahead and convert this conversation into a group IM. So here we have the Link client, and I just converted it to a group IM. Now I can chat with all those people in my email, and they can respond to me via chat. It's going to slowly invite everybody. And not only is this a chat window, we're talking about Link technology here, and Rich talked about this a bit in his presentation. This is way more than chat. I can initiate a voice over IP call with everyone. As long as these users are showing presence, meaning they're online, I can do a voice over IP call, and if they have a headset and a mic, we can certainly start chatting with each other. I can do a video call. I can easily share video. I don't have video set up in my my virtual environment here, so I'm not going to do that. But again, it would pop up as long as I have a camera, your video conferencing solution. And then probably the most utilized and leveraged feature, I can hit share and share out content. I can share my desktop like I'm doing now in this live meeting. I can share a specific program. I could share a PowerPoint presentation. Again, for the sake of this demo, I'm going to go ahead and simply just share out a whiteboard. Now, notice what happens here. My Link window, my chat window, simply expands to the right and becomes my sharing window. It becomes my web conference. It's that simple. If you're familiar with BPOS, our legacy product, BPOS was had communicator included and live meeting, two separate products, and we took the user experience into account when developing Link and said, you know what, we want to make this as simple as possible. So I would simply just, create this whiteboarding session. All of a sudden, that email I started, we're chatting. I could set a meeting agenda, and anyone else on this link can actually start contributing content here. We'll do an overview. I can go ahead and start using some of the editing tools in here, and it looks like my coworkers are on as well. There's great different tools, and again, I'm just clicking on whatever I see. So you get the idea. It's all about first communicating with everyone on my team quickly and effectively with simply one click, and then starting that collaboration session. Maybe I open up a Word document and we all start editing the same Word document, that type of collaboration. So I'm going to go ahead and hit stop sharing. Again, I can hide my stage and it goes back to my chat window. So another example I like to use, say everybody wasn't online, or maybe I had some external people on this email thread, but I wanted to start a collaboration session. Well, I can't simply invite someone externally on the fly to a meeting. I don't know their schedule. I don't know if they're available. I don't even know if they have a link. So what I would do, I would simply click on this email, go to my top ribbon again, and hit Meeting. And what I did, I just created a calendar invite with one click. I click in the body and I say, you know what? This calendar invite that automatically populated the to fields with all the folks on this email, I'm going to go ahead and convert it to an online meeting by clicking Online Meeting. And guess what? It pre-populated this link information for anyone to join. My internal colleagues can join. An external partner, customer that's never even heard of Link can easily join this meeting. I simply, I could go into my scheduling assistant here, look at the free busy information of my colleagues and say, you know what, looks like Fred's available at noon, I'm available at noon, but these folks, Tim, Todd, they're outside of the organization. I can't see their free busy information. Oh, well, I hope this works. I'm going to send out this invitation and say one of them never even heard of Link, didn't have it. They'd click Join Online Meeting. They would get a browser would pop up and say, do you want to join using the browser connection or download the Link attendee client? It gives the customer, partner, external participant the choice. They also have the choice of streaming audio over voice over IP, or you can associate a third-party audio conferencing number and code for them to dial in. We have 3 third-party audio conferencing providers that integrate with Link so that you could have some people join via computer headset and mic, and some people join via the audio conferencing bridge. Again, and those third-party vendors are Intercall, PGI, and BT Conferencing. Or you can use your existing audio conferencing provider, but you won't have that advanced integration and have the ability for both to join. So again, that's how easy it is for your users to schedule web conferences. Again, it's part of that Microsoft productivity experience. We're not saying, you have to go to a separate website and copy and paste a lot of information. It's just a few clicks and you're immediately collaborating with people inside and outside of your organization. So again, that's the Link integration into Outlook. Again, the most simplest usage of the Link integration. You know what? I'll go in and I'll see, I'll see Fred here. He's green status. Maybe he can answer my question. I'm just going to click on Fred, and it's going to show his profile. You see his pictures associated. I'm going to click a quick chat and just say, hey, Fred. Again, I just initiated a quick chat with Fred, and I never even went into my Link client. I simply just saw his presence, saw he was available in Outlook, and clicked on him. Again, it's that simple. So let's shift gears a little bit, and let's move into the actual Link client. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that here for my toolbar. Here's my Link client. Here you'll see all my frequent contacts. I've got internal employees, colleagues, Fred. This is my Microsoft account. I can actually chat with people outside of my Link outside of my company and my Link Online organization because we've enabled Link Federation. So I can chat, say I have a partner that's also on Link Online, like Lee Kelso here. He's offline right now, but I could certainly chat with them. I could chat with what I think is really cool. Maybe I have a partner that doesn't have Link, again, hasn't heard of Link, but I want to chat with them on a specific project. I can tell them, go to live.com, download Microsoft Messenger. We've enabled federation with a free Microsoft Messenger. Most people already have an account. They would simply download Messenger. I could have them start collaborating on projects, start sharing content, do voice over IP calls. Again, maybe you have a contact in Europe. You don't want to do long distance calls. You could simply leverage the voice over over IP infrastructure right there. So again, we've really opened up link. As far as integrations go, I could type in one letter. It queries my global address list. Again, that's the Exchange gal. So again, I'm in Link, and I'm integrated into Exchange, and I could pick up, I don't have to know their full address. I can simply just find a user in there, add them to my frequent contacts. I can hit Control and do group chats within Link. I can right-click on a user, say Lee's offline. Gosh, I really need to talk to Lee. Why don't I set a tag on him? As soon as Lee comes online, it's going to pop up and say, guess what? Lee's online. He's ready for you to talk to him. Well, maybe he's not ready, but I'm ready to talk to him because he's online. And again, sometimes I'll get into work at Microsoft, and all of a sudden 3 or 4 people start pinging me over Link. I know that they've tagged me. So, again, one other feature and functionality that I just want to talk about a little more is presence. We are relying on Link, and it's such a valuable communication tool because it gives us the up-to-the-second status of our colleagues. Again, right now I'm in a red status. That means I'm in a meeting. I didn't manually set my status to busy, which I could, by the way, right here. I rarely manually set my status. It automatically sets. It knows in my Outlook calendar that I've got a meeting scheduled. It will put me in a red status. Again, if I hit Control, Delete, step away from my desk, it's going to put me in a yellow status. People will see, hey, Mike's out to lunch, away from his desk. You could also put in little notes to people, like stepping away to the doctor for a while, or something like that. Just letting people know, hey, this is, I'm stepping away for a while, or in an important meeting, please don't bother me. Again, you could always go into Do Not Disturb. That way people cannot bother you at all. So again, that's Link. Link by itself. Let's shift gears, and now I want to show you that great browser experience that we talked about. Rich talked in his presentation about, really that Access Anywhere experience. Okay, I just got finished showing you a great experience out of Outlook. Well, what if I don't have my computer? What if I just have a browser connection? How do I connect to my sources? Well, here, this just popped me into the admin console. This is behind the scenes. This is where your IT folks, the partner, No Technology, if you work with them, would configure everything. It's kind of out of the scope of this discussion. If you're interested in it, we can certainly, provide you a demonstration of that at a later date. But again, I'm going to go back more towards that user experience. So again, say you are, and the example I always use, you're on vacation, you weren't allowed to take your laptop, however, you just need to get like an hour of work done, you found an internet, a kiosk in the lobby of the hotel, and you just want to get to your data, get to your work environment. So here you would go to portal.microsoftonline.com. And again, typically users do this from their desktop computer once. And then you go in and you run this desktop configuration tool from here, and it prepares your desktop for first-time usage. Other than that, typically users are just going to boot up their computer and go into Outlook, right? And then maybe go into SharePoint via a favorite, or they can always go into SharePoint via the link right here. But again, if you don't have your desktop computer and maybe you're at home and nothing's configured, you can always go into the portal and get access to everything right here. I have access to my Outlook web app. And that's, again, for those of you not familiar, that's Outlook Web Access. We changed it to Outlook Web App on the 2010 platform. It's the browser-based version of my email. I have access to installing the Link client, and I have access to SharePoint. If I had Office Professional Plus, meaning the E3 SKU, and Rich talked about this a little bit, Office Pro Plus is available as a subscription. I would have access here to download it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the Outlook web app experience. And again, this is a fantastic browser-based experience of your email. Pretty much the best browser-based experience out there. It's very similar. you might notice, to the Outlook client, I can drag and drop. If I right-click, I get the full Outlook menu, not an HTML menu. I can maximize, minimize folders. Folks, again, this is all in the browser. I can go into settings, set themes. I can manage my mobile devices, set my out of office. Again, you might find, hey, for a subset of my employees or maybe all of my employees, Outlook web app is a great way for them to access their email. Absolutely. We have a ton of customers that, for their primary email access, they use Outlook web app. Again, remember earlier I talked about that archive? The archive shows up in Outlook web app. Thus, reaffirming that it's truly an online archive. Another cool feature, my favorite feature is, again, I'm on that internet kiosk. I don't have access to any of my client software. Well, guess what? I see my contact list. I see Fred's link presence. Again, link integrated with Outlook web app. I can click on Fred and initiate a chat with him within Outlook web app. This is a browser chat window. Again, I'm not relying on any client software. From that remote location that just has browser, just has the internet, I can chat with Fred. I can access my email. I can use link chat, and I can access SharePoint. Again, that is our Access Anywhere story. Taking it further, and I'm not going to demo this because it's difficult to demo. We have a great experience on your mobile devices, Android, iPhones, BlackBerries. We recently added BlackBerry support, Windows Phone 7s. We have an absolutely fantastic experience where you get your full email on those devices, and then you can also get into SharePoint. Especially and specifically on the Windows Phone, there's a SharePoint application, an Office application built in where you really can easily browse your team site. So, again, that's Outlook web app. For the sake of time, I'm going to shift gears and now show you SharePoint. So I'm not sure the familiarity level of the folks on this call with SharePoint, so I'll kind of just give you a basic overview. Think of SharePoint as your web collaboration platform. Again, can it be a replacement for your corporate intranet? Absolutely, but it's much, much more than simply an intranet, meaning a web interface for you to, post documents. It's a collaboration platform. So I guess what distinguishes SharePoint from other platforms and traditional intranets is the power of collaboration, the power of making change is now in each and every employee's hands. We want to give rights to all employees to go in and make changes. Thus, it makes the content on this site dynamic. When everybody, when you can segment it out and, for example, maybe I have an HR site. The HR manager then is responsible for making HR changes, and you can do designated project sites. Those project managers manage that site and make changes. SharePoint is so easy to use. You can simply, spend very little time training users to get up to speed, and again, you start leveraging all the great features and functionality. Everything you see here is out-of-box functionality. A lot of people come in thinking, well, if I'm going to leverage SharePoint, I have to have a really expensive SharePoint consultant building out, all these rich applications on SharePoint. You certainly can do that. However, that's one way to look at SharePoint. The more simple way is, hey, I've got this great web collaboration platform that has great out-of-box functionality. All I need to be an expert on when I'm designing my SharePoint platform, my SharePoint site, is my own business. I need to know, okay, which projects, departments, groups in my organization should be represented on this top navigation. How should I represent each top navigation item with the left navigation? What content should I display in the middle? So again, hopefully that kind of gives you a good idea, good framework of how companies are using SharePoint. I'm going to give you some examples of using SharePoint to solve, some simple SharePoint forms and workflows to solve some, critical business pain points that every organization has, perhaps over the email system, meaning emailing forms back and forth. But before I get into that, I just want to show you how we work with documents in SharePoint. Here I've got a document library embedded. Again, in the most simplest of usage of SharePoint is I manage my team documents here. And the advantage here is you get to leverage the great document management features of SharePoint. You give everyone on your team access to this library. All of a sudden, everyone can go in. You could see who last modified the document. Oh, that was me. And guess what? Look what shows up next to my name, my link presence. Again, I could go ahead and initiate a chat with someone that's showing presence in SharePoint because of that link integration. So again, it's a full suite, again, working together. So just to show off some of the neat features here, I'm going to go ahead and click on O365 FAQ. I'm going to go to version history. Notice every single save that has occurred on this document is kept in this version history. This will complement your disaster recovery plan very well if you turn on versioning. Again, somebody overwrites maybe the latest FAQ document that I'm constantly working on. I don't like their changes. I can go back and restore. I don't have to call IT and say, hey, can you restore from backup? Oh, by the way, this happened 4 months ago. I just am noticing now. Chances are that's going to be gone. So you turn on versioning, problem solved, doesn't even result in a call to IT. Another great feature that I use a lot internally at Microsoft, alerts. This content in this library is so important to me. I want to set an alert, and I want to be notified anytime this content changes. So maybe anytime someone adds a new item, or anytime someone modifies an existing item in this library, I can set an alert on an individual document. Anytime someone opens this document, let me know. So again, it really puts the control into the user's realm so that the users don't have to rely on somebody else. I have 5 alerts set in Microsoft. When something changes, there are alerts relating to, customer list, partner list. I get that alert. I'm not relying on somebody emailing me. Another great feature that I'd like to show is, notice on this ribbon, and again, on the Microsoft Suite, you'll see no matter what product you're in, Excel, Outlook, SharePoint, you'll see the ribbon at the top, and we try to make it consistent. I know it was hard to adopt the ribbon at first, but now that most of you have been using the ribbon for some time, again, it's consistent amongst the suite. So I'm going to hit Connect to Outlook with this document library. I'm going to hit Cancel because I've already done it. Now I go back to my Outlook client here, and you'll see that on the left-hand folder list, all these documents are populated. I basically synced my SharePoint with Outlook. They didn't copy, all these documents didn't copy into my mailbox, and rather they simply are a view of these documents, and if I click on one, it downloads to my C drive. I can edit it, I can make a change, and I can update SharePoint. So again, this is a critical library. I'm going to sync it with Outlook. Now I have access to the critical documents that are important to me right from my Outlook. So if you think about the Microsoft productivity story in general, a lot of users these days, and I'm sure a lot of the people on this call can attest to this, have dual monitors, right? And in one monitor, what do you always have running? Outlook. Well, we've just designed this productivity experience to work out of Outlook. First thing you open in the day, you always have it open, so we've designed it. I can check my email. I can check email conversations and see every communication that happened, whether it's a chat, a calendar invite, all relating to that subject. I can initiate chats from my email. I can initiate group chats, web conference sharing sessions, and web conference invites, and I can work on my SharePoint content, all within a few clicks. Again, that is the Microsoft productivity experience, giving users improved communication and collaboration. So back to SharePoint, one final point I wanted to make, and again, before I do that, I don't want to forget, notice on my toolbar here, hopefully you can see it fully, I've got Firefox and I've got Chrome. Safari isn't installed, but that's also supported. We have made Office 365 completely cross-platform compatible when it comes to browsers. We understand those browsers are out there. I could give the same demo, and I have before, in Firefox, in Chrome, and everything works beautifully, and you get the same features and functionality. So, again, really quick, some other features. I promised that I would show, it looks like we have some time here, I would show solving some business pain points with SharePoint, and the example I always use is expense reports. So say you're emailing expense reports back and forth over your email system. Very difficult to track. You know, users never know if it's been approved or not. Finally, managers send it over to finance. Again, is there a better way we could be managing this? And it's not just expense reports. Think about the forms you might be managing over email in your organization. So I can simply direct users to this expense portal and say, users, go ahead and click on the expense report portal, click to add a new expense report. And if you look here, you'll see this is an InfoPath form, but wait a minute, I'm not in InfoPath. This is a browser form. How did I do that? I published this form as a web service. And you'll notice with SharePoint Online, we have a lot of web services enabled, whether it's InfoPath, SharePoint, Excel, Access, Visio, all web services. And we have some sample access databases, like this help desk database. I don't have time to show it. That's an Access web service, meaning it took the Access client and it was browser enabled in the cloud. So again, a user fills out that expense report. It goes to a pending state. I've created a simple workflow on the back end that sends an email to an approver group or that employee's manager saying, with a link saying, hey, do you approve, reject, and do you want to add a comment or leave it as pending? Manager approves it. Second phase of the workflow will kick off to a finance group to process the expense report. It's that simple to create a form and a workflow in SharePoint. Again, this isn't custom code. This is out-of-box functionality. And you could even go as far as setting permissions on this library that users can only see items that they create, kind of like this view at the top, My Expense Reports, so that this would be a user's personal expense portal. And they go in here, you know, and you've seen other portals like that and for other systems. You could easily create that own personal experience, and then you would give finance full access so they can see everything, and maybe give a manager access to see his reports and his subordinates' reports. So again, that just kind of gives you an idea of some of the great, you know, usage of forms and workflow to solve kind of those critical business pain points. Some other cool features, if I go ahead and click on this team site that I've created, Rich talked about Outlook web app, I can go ahead and open up a Word document here, and I'm going to go ahead and hit Edit in Browser. I can edit in Word, or I can edit in Browser. And actually, this is a big online trial guide. It might take a while to render. This is using the word web app, meaning I access Office 365 from a computer that doesn't have Word installed. I can still get into my Word documents. You have to be licensed for it. But again, this is a trial guide, and it's showing me how it's rendering 67% complete. I can actually get into this trial guide and work. You might have a subset of users saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to buy them Word. I'm going to go ahead and just get them Office web app. And then all access they do on Word will be, the documents will reside in SharePoint, and they'll go in and simply open them up in the Word, Excel web app. PowerPoint and OneNote are also included. So, again, looks like we have a couple minutes. I could spend a lot more time on SharePoint, but because we're out of time, let's go ahead and go back to the presentation. I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to Mike for some closing comments. And again, I'm going to look at Q&A and address any questions that we might have. Looks like there's 3 in there. But while I'm reviewing those, Mike, why don't you go ahead and give us some of your closing comments there.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Mike. So I wanted to thank everyone for attending today. I hope you've come away with a better understanding of how Microsoft positions its Office 365 product, and hopefully a little bit about how their technology approaches cloud with our client base. as I said at the beginning of the presentation, we are offering our introductory cloud assessment to those folks who registered and attended today. As we reach out to each of the folks on the call today with slide decks and deliverables and things like that, we'll also be presenting that offer. So looking forward to engaging with a number of you folks. I did want to just check and see. I know that there's at least one question here in Rich and Mike. And so I think what I'm going to do is, and they're sitting here in our Portland office, so I think what I'm going to do is open up the phone, open up the mic if you don't mind,
no problem.
and have see if we can get that question. That might help some of the other folks here on the line.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and shoot.
Hi, this is Stuart Wright at Main Today Media. One or two quick questions. Our environment has a number of Macs. And so I guess what I'm looking for is there going to be an offering with the E3 plan for Office for Mac? I know in the E3 you guys offer Office Pro Plus, but what about Office for Mac?
Yeah, it looks like you've done some research, and right now it's not available, and it's not on the immediate roadmap. So our guidance right now, if you have Macs, again, you need to do an E1 SKU and then buy Office 2011 through your traditional licensing reseller. And unfortunately, that's the story with Mac. They haven't enabled because it's really there's a sign-in agent for Office Pro Plus, and they re-architected the way you need to license it from the computer, and they just didn't do that for the Mac software. I get asked this a lot. Again, all I can tell you is, your option is the volume licensing and getting the E1 SKU. One other, something that we are adding shortly is the ability to purchase archiving separately and add it onto the E1 SKU. A lot of people, you wanted E3 because they wanted archiving for Exchange Plan 2, but but if you have a Mac, you can't get E3 because it comes with Office. So we say get E1. When they say that's fine, I'll get Office through volume licensing, get E1, but I can't get archiving now. So we're adding archiving onto that, and that's just the way it's going to be in the I guess at least for the next 6 months until we hear otherwise on the Mac concerning the Mac.
And what's the cost uptick then for the archiving option on E1?
On E1, it's going to be $350.
$350
per user per month. Yeah.
Okay. And then the only question I had was in and around. I saw the press release that BES is going to be available for free. Does that include the standard 46 policies, or is that going to be a subset? And if so, are those things that we're going to be able to set as admins, or do we have to call the support desk in order to make changes to those policies?
You're going to be able to set as admin, and it's available now. So if you were to get into your Office 365 admin console, the one I kind of showed briefly, at the bottom there's a link to BES, and it's available now. No additional charge. You just need to be licensed, and you can actually add it in the trial state and start testing out your BES functionality. There is an admin console, and you're actually redirected to RIM site where you can control the policies. Now, it's a subset of policies that are available in the full BES service that you might be used to on premises. So I would say definitely get on that site. The policies will be there. You'll see exactly what you can and can't do.
And you said that was at the bottom of the admin homepage?
Yep, bottom of the admin console. There's just right in the main page is a link to set up BES.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yep, yeah, no problem. Any other questions in the room? I've got a few questions in the Q&A manager, if not. Okay. Looks like Mitch asked if there's a program that would permit colleges to run a pilot with students. Absolutely. It's a completely different offering, meaning a different team that supports education. So I would put you in contact with an education representative. So I'm not sure if Mitch is still on the call, but if we want to, folks at No, if we want to reach out to Mitch, I'll reach out with some education contacts, and we can get that conversation started with, pricing and how the whole, Office 365 for EDUs works. And then finally, Dave asked, can presence be turned off, or is it all or nothing? Link can be turned off. I mean, presence is a core part of Link, so if you want to turn off presence, basically you want to turn off Link. Yeah, you can get Office 365 and then non-enable Link. You can completely disable the Link functionality if it's a security concern or something, absolutely. Or you could just not buy Link and buy the other components of the suite. And that pretty much does it for the questions. Any other questions out there? Okay. Well, Mike, unless you had any closing comments, I think we can go ahead and hand this off to Nicole to close us out.
Thanks again, guys. This is Mike White from No Technology. Once again, appreciating your attendance today and looking forward to speaking with all of you. Have a great afternoon.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you, presenters. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's live meeting. Your live meeting console will remain active while you are logged in, but this concludes the audio portion of the event. Thank you so much for joining us today. You may disconnect.